Okay, so I'm so excited to introduce you to the amazing, the incredible Jennifer Donovan. Jennifer is here today despite some challenging circumstances in her own life, which I'll let her share with you. And I'm so grateful for that. And this woman, she's like a hidden gem, and I want her to not be hidden anymore. That's how I feel about Jennifer Donovan. And so I'm going to let her take it away, but she's going to be talking about energetic alignment for change makers. Enjoy this one. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here today. As Suzanne said, you can see I'm in a hotel room because our home flooded a week and a half ago. So we are currently living in a hotel. So yeah, I'm super excited. For those of you who are new to my world, my name is Jennifer Donovan. I'm a psychic business coach, and I help coaches, healers, and intuitively led entrepreneurs make fucking bank in their business, doing business their way. And one of my biggest shifts in my life and in my business is the energy, and really how I have used energetics to heal, to amplify, to create magic, not only in my personal life, but also in my business. My background, I was a teacher for 16 years, and I am also the CEO and creator of the High Vibe Boss Babe brand. And that brand actually started because I was standing in my kindergarten classroom with tears just streaming down my face after another horrific week. I had a student who watched his father overdose on heroin. I had another student who was thrown through a moving vehicle. And I worked in a super low income area, low socioeconomic area. And these children were coming to school exhausted, not sleeping all night, hungry, so just disconnected from school that there was no amount of amazing lessons that I could create that was going to support them the way they actually needed to be supported. And I had this moment when I was standing in my classroom of, what if we changed the lives of the women in these babies, because they cannot be successful and do all of the things that they want to do in life when their belly is empty, when they are having family life where they cannot count on security, safety, and having a warm place to be every night. And I knew that if the women in these children's lives were happier, they would know and healed, they would no longer be in relationships where they were being physically abused, mentally, emotionally abused. If they were financially abundant, they wouldn't be working 3-4 jobs, night shifts, having their children basically be brought up and raised by the streets. If they were healthy, right, the decisions that they would make to be able to support their children. And I knew it wasn't just the moms, it's all of the women in their lives, their grandmothers, their aunties, their godmothers, their, friends, family, all of those things. That's really how we're going to change these children's lives. And it was through that and my own journey of healing my relationship, healing my PTSD from my son's birth and pregnancy, healing my own energy of how I approach things, how I handled situations, that I actually became a better wife, a better mom, a better friend, a better daughter. I was more in tune with my own energy. I was able to say no to things that were not aligned and yes to the things that were. I became so happy with life. People would tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you're glowing. I can just feel your energy. I love being in your energy because it just elevates me. And that was only possible because of the energetic healing that I did. And one of the things I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and we are so conditioned by society, by our family, even by past lives, by ancestral coding. There are things that have happened in the galaxy, in the galactics, where we have not been able to actually be our true essence. So many women that I meet don't even know who they truly are at the core. And so when we start to get more in tune with our energy, we're able to recognize what is really in alignment and what is not. We're able to make the shifts so we can actually be, do, and have all of our wildest dreams. And so today, I want to talk to you about what that energetic alignment looks like, what it feels like, give you an experience so you can be able to identify it for yourself. I said I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. That's who I work with. One of the things that I always talk with my clients when we're strategizing, their next launch or, the things that they want to do in their business, become speaking on stage or putting their products in stores. Whenever we start to strategize, and I'll bring up ideas, one of the things that I find is really interesting is they will say to me when I start to give ideas and we start to mastermind is, oh, that's not an alignment. And an alignment is something that is thrown out a lot, especially in the spiritual community. And when we look at alignment, one of the things that I always say, cool, we don't need to do this, but I'm just curious, why isn't it in alignment? I'm going to give you some examples, and all of the examples have been approved and I've gotten approval to share from my clients. One of my mastermind clients, we were talking about, she wanted to really build a community. And we talked about how going live and being on camera is one way to build community. So we kind of talked about that. She goes, that's just not an alignment. It's like, okay, cool. Can you just tell me a little about why? I'm just curious. So, when I get home from work, I'm exhausted and I just want to get into my PJs. Cool. Then what? Why won't you go live in your PJs? And she said, well, it's not professional. People are going to look at me and think, who is she? I'm like, oh, so is it not in alignment, or is it that there's a limiting belief that we can't be in our PJs in order to change somebody's life and to have somebody hire us? She's like, yeah. And I stood up right then and I danced around in the room and I was like, I'm in my PJs right now. Do you think anything less of me and being able to help you transform? And she's like, no. All right, so let's go. Let's do this thing. If going live or doing something in your business, whatever it may be, it's important for us, before we just immediately say, no, it's not in alignment, for us to actually tap in and ask ourselves the question, why? What is it about it that's not in alignment? Another client I had recently said, we were talking about selling and she had this big launch that she wanted to do. And she has this beautiful course. And I said, all right, so how does it feel to sell every day? She's like, oh no, selling is not in alignment. Okay, cool. Can you tell me why? Just a little curious. And she had told me, well, that just feels exhausting to sell every day. If you were having a party and you were texting your friends, inviting them to the party, would you be like, oh no, I can only invite friends one time, one day. That's it. I can't, as I think of more friends that I want to have at my party, I can't invite them because I didn't do it on that one day. She was like, no, I would never say that. Exactly. So is it really that sales is exhausting and you don't want to sell every day? It's not in alignment. Or is it that the way you are doing sales right now feels hard, feels heavy, doesn't feel like you can actually do it every day? Sometimes it's also about working the muscle of just practicing it. Yes, talk about the party every day, right? And I view sales as inviting people to a party. The party is my course. The party is my one-on-one. The party is my mastermind. And I'm just inviting people who want the type of party that is, right? We wouldn't say, oh no, I'm not going to invite my best friend to my party. We wouldn't say that. So when we look at the things and the decisions that we're making in our daily lives, a lot of times that I see is that the decisions we're making are based on those limiting beliefs, or based on fears, or based on society standards. Another thing that came up recently was I had a client who really wanted to speak on stage, but then she was like, no, that's not in alignment. She had gotten an opportunity. She's like, I want to, but no, this opportunity is not in alignment. Okay, cool. Let's talk about this. And finally, after some conversation, she was terrified of going and being seen by that many people. So I did my little magic and I tuned into her energy, and we discovered that there was a past life of her being a witch and her being burned at the stake. And so that deep-seated fear of being seen created what she thought was a misalignment, where she would say, no, that doesn't feel good. We can also have a situation where when we have experiences in our life, memories, times when we've had really strong emotions, those emotions can be like they're balls of energy, literal balls of energy that get trapped into our body. And it can press and totally overwhelm our nervous system. And so when we are in that state, things that would typically be in alignment don't feel like in alignment. So one of the things that I do is I channel a lot, and programs and offers will drop in, and sometimes I'll get little bits and pieces, and sometimes it'll be like a full zing of like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And it's so funny. Suzanne, I was talking with her back in like April, May, June of last year. And I was like, okay, I'm getting something for a year-long program. We had this big conversation about me having a year-long program. Well, I just left my teaching career because I had surpassed my teaching salary with my business, scaled to over 100K in my coaching business. And my contract had completed. I was able to leave teaching. And I was just like, it is not in alignment. So she probably wanted to strangle me. She's like, what do you mean? No. And what I recognized is my nervous system was so fried from the chaos of teaching that the things that were actually being given to me, downloaded in by source, downloaded in by my higher self, I was resisting because of my nervous system being so fried. And then after I healed my nervous system, I now have multiple year-long containers. So it's so amazing. Hello, Michelle. How are you? I'm seeing names pop in. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Off track. I have to say hi to all my people. So I want to show you how you can tune in to your own energy and actually see, is it a misalignment where you're like, no, it's not something I'm doing? Or is there something else, whether it be a fear, a limiting belief, something in the ethers, spiritually, something in your body that actually is creating the misalignment? Because when we are approaching our dreams and our business of massive success and changing the world, when we actually take action on the things that we know are going to make a difference, or we want it to make a difference, magic completely explodes and just allows you to have massive success in any area. So if you just have a moment, hand over heart and hand over gut. Okay. If you can just close your eyes, just take a few deep breaths. And I want you to imagine or picture in your mind. If you don't see anything in your mind, go ahead and just imagine it, hearing it or feeling it. I want you to think of something that is an absolute no, you would never do, like hurting babies or hurting a dog. You know what I mean? Like something that you're like, absolutely not, no way. And I just want you to just notice the sensations in your body. Where do you feel it? What do you feel? Do you see anything? Hear anything? And now I want you to think of something that maybe you're a little afraid of. Maybe something like, I don't know, I don't like spiders. So that's something that I always pick. Maybe that's more of a fear. I want you to just take a few more deep breaths. Picture that in your mind. Where do you feel it? Your side, on your right side. Is it above your belly or below? What do you feel? Is it a tightness, a tingling sensation, heart palpitations? What do you hear or see? I want you to go ahead and share it in the comments. What did you notice between the two of a misalignment, an absolute hell no, and something that was more of a fear? Where did you notice the different parts in your body? Did you notice a difference in the sensations? Did you see or hear something different? I know for me, when it is an absolute no, I get an immediate like tightening in my chest, a constriction. It's like, this is an absolutely not. And then when it's more of a fear, I can get tingly sensations. Tightness is more in my stomach. And so anytime I'm going about life and I'm thinking about in my business or in my life, and I'm going to potentially take action on something, I always do a little check-in. Or if somebody gives me an idea, or I get an idea from spirit, and I'm feeling that hesitation or resistance, I always do a check-in. Is this actually a fear or not actually a misalignment? Because a lot of times what we will do is we will spend so much time in our head overthinking, overanalyzing, second guessing, doubting. And we focus on what our head is telling us one thing. But when we drop into our bodies and we allow our bodies to tell us the information, we get more clarity. Suzanne says, the hell no was a dark anvil-shaped hardness in my left shoulder blade. The hell yes fear was butterflies in my sacral. It was that I would forget my words during a TED Talk. Ooh. Right? So that just awareness of tuning into your body helps you to be able to discern between the two. So you can actually move on the things that your higher self is telling you to move on. You can heal the things that are no longer serving you. Bonnie says, I'm in my head a lot. Yeah, that's super common. Right? And when we're in our head, what we think is a misalignment or what we think is a no gets convoluted by all the other thoughts that we have. All the other worries we can actually absorb. If you find yourself scrolling on social media, you can actually absorb other people's thoughts. And then they stick right in their crown. I was doing an energy healing session on a client the other day, and I was just removing all kinds of gunk in her crown. She was struggling to connect with source, and she wasn't receiving the downloads. And it's like, as soon as we started to move all of the junk, everyone else's thoughts from her mind, she was actually able to get more clarity in what she wanted. She was able to connect to source, get the downloads, get the information. And it allowed her to become more centered, and to take the action that was going to move her business forward. So, how does that feel so far? Does that feel like something that you're able to, okay, when I am going to take next steps and there's something that I want and I'm feeling some resistance, be able to check in with your body, right? We can have situations where we are, it's a witch wound, a healer wound. I experience this a lot, where these witches and healer wounds create a resistance. You're like, I don't know what it's from. I have this irrational fear of something. Like, it feels irrational because my mind doesn't understand why this is a no, why I don't like it, why all of a sudden I'm just filled with anxiety and dread. A lot of times it's an ancestor coding that has been passed down, that we've inherited, just like our hair and our eye color. We inherit the energetic codes from our ancestors. So if something happened to them that created a significant emotional charge, it's almost as if they had a physical altercation with their, they got hit by a car or something like that. Like, that's how our body receives it. It actually changes our DNA and our energetic coding. There was a study that was done where they had rats in a cage. I hate it, but I'm gonna tell you this story, where when the rats went over to one side of the cage, they would get zapped. The most horrible thing in the freaking world. And what they found is the grandchildren of those rats that were zapped, they were put in a cage. They had never been zapped before. They had never had anything happen to them, but they avoided that side of the cage. They had no reason to, other than their own genetic DNA and energy that they downloaded from their grandparent that gave them a fear of that. So we want to heal these things. We want to tune into them so that we can actually live our best life. Break the generational curses, the generational cycles that are holding you back from actually changing the world. We're here to be change makers. And what if you could impact 1,000 times more than what you currently are? Just by awareness of these things that you are thinking are misalignments or are no's, these fears, these doubts, these beliefs, and actually transforming them, healing them, and allowing yourself to create the impact that you've always desired, that you know that you were put on earth to do. This is allowing our true essence to come through. So often, so many people, especially women, don't even know truly who they are. They don't really know their likes and their dislikes because they have been told by society and their family, this is how you should be. This is what you should like. Suzanne talked about in her opening ceremony with Vernay about how she had an encounter with a woman, and the woman told her to just hustle through it. You just push through, right? Instead of allowing yourself to surrender and heal or just be. That's society telling us that we have to push through. That is a toxic, wounded way of doing business. And if more women were brought to the table to have these conversations and not, and I was thinking about this yesterday because Suzanne and I, we did our prep call. And when she had asked me this question about what would it be like for women to come to the table? And I said, and I was saying, women, this is what we would do. And then I had a moment after our conversation where it was like, you know what? It's not just women. Women coming to the table, yes, but it's the healed versions of the women, the healed versions of the men coming to the table to have these conversations where childcare, people, planet, those are at the forefront, right? How many of us would have and look at business if we have our business and it's an empire and it's like, oh, I can either get a $50 million bonus or I can save the jobs of all of the families who are working for me if I don't have that bonus. Right now in the current paradigm, it's very toxic. It's very wounded. And we see a lot of these CEOs, millionaires, billionaires, they'd rather take the $50 million bonus than save the livelihoods and keep the jobs of all of the people who work for them. There's a lot where women have been pitted against each other, where it's cattiness and fighting and competition. That's the wounded, toxic that has been ingrained into, because if we're fighting amongst ourselves, then those who are watching us fight get to be the ones to take action and rise while we sit here and be catty. So it's allowing us to heal by tuning into our own energies, by looking at the things that are holding us back, asking ourselves why, diving deeper, going into the shadows and looking at our shadows and saying, you know what, this isn't actually mine, and I'm going to change it and heal it. So Suzanne says, how can we get back into alignment if we don't know what to do? Such a great question, right? How do we actually get back into it? Is that awareness first of what it is. Awareness of that resistance. One of the things that I do with a lot of my clients when life is lifing and things are happening, it's reconnecting in with source, reconnecting in with our higher self. You can do this through visualization. You can do this through meditation. You can do this by, and it doesn't have to be like sit and quiet. My husband loves to do like running meditations. That's when he does his best zoning in, is when he's running. So you can allow yourself to just have these awareness. And when we talk about alignment, it's when our higher self, our soul, and our body, our mind are all connected in one towards a common thing. When our higher self, our soul, our mind, our body, our heart, when everything is all in a line, it's where alignment comes from. All focused, all ready, all moving towards the same thing. That is when we get to come back. That is when we are truly in alignment. So sometimes what we will think, oh, it's misaligned, maybe one piece of it, our body is misaligned. Another piece is maybe our mind is misaligned. That's the limiting beliefs. You know, if our nervous system is misaligned, that's our body. And we have our soul, and we've got those witch wounds, healer wounds, ancestral. And then it's what our higher self, when we're allowing fears, doubts, anxieties to prevent us from taking the action. If you know, I'm going to give you an example of an investment. You know that something is, gosh, I really want to do this, but I'm afraid I won't receive a return on investment. I'm afraid that the money won't come in. This is where our mind is being pulled out from our higher self, and we're not able to actually take the action because of these fears. But when our higher self or our soul is telling us to do this, maybe it may be to reach out to somebody who's going to completely shift and change your business. And our mind says, oh, but what if they say no? What if they say no, I'm going to feel rejected, and that's going to hurt. So then I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be hurt. And our higher self is like screaming at us, no, don't do that. Everything you've been dreaming of is just on the other side of you having this connection. So we allow ourselves to take a moment when we say no to something or we get those feelings. Where is it at? Where is it coming from? And is this actually in line or in alignment with our highest goals, dreams, our desires? Or is this just a momentary, I'm freaking scared and this would hurt? Does that make sense? And let me know if you have any questions, do not hesitate to drop them into the comments. Okay, perfect. All right, so my talk is going to be a little bit shorter than everyone else's because I have to pick my kids up from school. It is their last day of school. So this is the business that I have created to be able to pick my kids up from school, be there on the last day, to give them the hugs and celebrations and hear about their day. So I'm going to take us into a visualization of connecting in with our higher self so that you can always come back to this anytime you're feeling out of alignment, you're feeling like, I don't know what to do. You're feeling like this, I'm scared of this, but I know I want to do this, so that you can actually move, take that action and make the change. So if you are at a space where you can do this with us, do it. If you are driving, don't do it with us. If you are, you come back to the replay and do it with us. Okay. So just take a moment, take a few deep breaths. Just allow yourself to get grounded and centered. Now, if you can't see anything, that's totally okay. Allow yourself to see, hear, feel, or just allow yourself to set the intention so that anything that is meant to come through, you either receive it now or you receive it later. Allowing your spirit guides and your team to give you the messages that your higher self wants you to know. Just go ahead and take a few deep breaths. I'm going to go ahead and, with your permission, just go ahead and give a yes. Do it in the comments. You can just say it verbally out loud or in your mind. Giving permission for me to tune into your energy. Just going to go ahead and release your current grounding cord. I want you to imagine a cord going from the bottom of your tailbone down into the earth, grounding and stabilizing you. And as that cord goes down into the earth, goes deeper and deeper and even deeper, as it wraps around the earth's core, grounding and stabilizing your energy. Go ahead and bring your awareness up to your crown, the top of your head. We're just going to go ahead and remove any thoughts, any overthinking, doubts, beliefs of not being good enough, fears of not being loved or accepted or belonging, everyone else's thoughts that do not belong to us. We're just going to go ahead and remove it, returning it and transmuting it back to pure love. I want you to just imagine a cord going from your crown up into source's energy. I want you to just imagine like a plug, like a vacuum plug, plugging into source's energy. And I want you to feel the energy from source coming down, filling your crown, going down your head, into your shoulders, down your arms, to the tips of your fingers, down into your chest, filling in your heart space, down into your stomach, into your hips, and meeting that grounding energy, swirling in source and Mother Earth's grounding energy as that floats down into your thighs, your knees, down into your calves, all the way down to the tips of your toes. I want you to imagine you are in the most beautiful forest. You can feel the gentle breeze brushing your hair. You can feel the warmth of the sun peeking through the trees. You can hear the birds and the animals scurrying through the forest. Just take a moment to see the trees. Awareness to your feet. At the bottom, at your feet, you notice there's a path. Go ahead and walk down that path. And as you're walking down the path, you notice up ahead a beautiful waterfall that flows into its own pond. And as you start to approach this water, go into this pond, you reach the edge where the dirt meets the water. And you look into the water and you see your current energy, who you are now, your current reflection. Notice what you see. Do you notice any colors around your body in your reflection? Do you like what you see in your reflection? I want you to take your finger. You're just going to dip it into the water. And as your finger creates a ripple, the reflection starts to change. And you start to make out your higher self, the version of you that is living its best life, the version of you that is the change maker, that is creating a massive impact across the globe. What do you notice about her? What does she look like? What type of energy does she exude? Do you notice what she's wearing? How she's holding herself? Now, as you look into the water, you see your higher self. You notice that the water starts to the picture starts to expand across the water. What do you see? What is your higher self doing? Who is your higher self with? And as you continue to look into the water, your higher self has a message for you. Allow yourself to receive it now. And when you are ready, go ahead and open your eyes and come back to the room. I love that. Confident, full of life. I love that. Go ahead and share in the comments what came through from your higher self, or what you noticed between your current self and your higher self. Beautiful. Message, you can do this. You are ready. I love that. Oh, can you trust your higher self? Oh, I love that. Said to open up. Beautiful. Love the ripple reflection. Allowed me to spread the message wider and wider. Yes. I received some much needed clarity. Yay. Beautiful. I love this. Now you can come back and always, so this in the Pow Her group, this will be available and you will always be able to come back. So just look at the timestamp. It's 11:41 my time. I think at 5 minutes and 55. So if you want to come back to this, or excuse me, 5 hours and 55 minutes. Oh my gosh, Suzanne, you have been on Zoom for a long time. So
Marathon.
come back during, if you want to come back to this visualization anytime you want to reconnect with your higher self.
So good, Jennifer. I will tell you guys that I am very fortunate that I work with Jennifer up close and personal once a week. She is like my chiropractor, but for my energy. She helps me tune in, tune up, stay clear, keep my chakras open. The work that I desire to do in this world requires support. I can't do it alone. And Jennifer she's one of my secret weapons. I'm so grateful for her talent and her time. And, you know, Jen, you just bring such light to the world, and it's so fun to see it packaged up in you, because you like to swear and you like to get into it, and you're like, whatever. And you're also like, hello, I'm here for all of you, and let me move your energy. I love watching what you do when you're doing that. All the clearing and cleansing. It's so amazing. So I know you're going to go pick up your kiddos. I have a wonderful last day of school with them, and I just love everybody here to drop into those comments to say thank you for Jennifer, because right now she is managing a flooded home, literally, and she took time out of her calendar and time out of her life and other obligations to be here with us. So can you all just say a big thank you to her?
Thank you.
I love you so much.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this amazing conference. And I'm just so honored to connect with all of you. Those of you who are new to my world and we aren't connected with, please send me a friend request, DM me. I would love for you to join us in my private Facebook group, the High Vibe Boss Babes. You can also find me on Instagram at High Vibe Boss Babe, and also on TikTok at High Vibe Boss Babe. And right, all the places. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. I'm so grateful.
Say hi to kiddos for me. Love
I
you.
will. Bye.